a dilemma. Because he knows the right thing to do, he knows the wrong thing to do, and he knows the thing he wants to do. So, typical GM fashion, I have to basically take the A-arms out to change those damn things. These fit without me doing anything. Do I just leave them? Or do I take the effort, make the effort to change them? Because like that one has no play in it, that one's got very, very little play in it. So they're not bad because, I mean, that thing didn't produce enough power to hurt them. But the new ones are nice, and I think they might settle a little closer to the frame. I don't know. I just know if I do that, I gotta pull the A-arms to do it. And last thing I pulled A-arms on turned into a nightmare. So I'm not really looking forward to going through that kind of effort to then discover that I might as well buy new A-arms while I'm at it. And then have to need to get an alignment and everything done because I don't want to go through all that. I just want to be able to put it together and be done. So, yeah. Dilemma. Like I said, I know the right thing to do. Just go through the effort, change them out, and be done with it. The wrong thing to do is the thing I kind of want to do is just leave them and be done with it. I don't know. But I gotta get ready to go pick the kids up in a minute. So we're gonna think about it while I do that. Because if not, this is now gonna be the engine bay gets finished Wednesday, and then the engine goes in maybe Thursday. Which is kind of later than I wanted it to go in, but still well within reason. I mean, it's only a day behind and I can get caught back up. Theoretically. Not that I really would be behind because I'm only on day 2 of being able to get anything done, and I've got 13. So I have plenty of time. But yeah, so I think we're gonna get this corner jacked up, get that wheel pulled off, and see if we can't maybe zip out a couple more things for. We gotta go get the kids because that needs to come out. It's down in there. Why does it look like it's got the rolling effect going on? That needs to come out because it's just gone. This is staying because I don't feel like fighting with the Speedo otherwise. Because if I take... Yeah. If I change anything else from this point with that, then I don't think my Speedo cable is long enough to reach transmission, which then creates a whole other issue I don't feel like dealing with. So that will still work the way it is. It just won't register stuff for this, which is whatever. We're not using it anyway. So, yeah. Decisions. I'll be back when I have an answer. So, this is where we've gotten for the night. I've decided I'm leaving those mounts in just because it's going to be a lot of effort to change them out for realistically minimal gain. Everything's painted up the way it's going to be painted. I could take these hoses out because I'll probably end up replacing them, but for right now I'm going to leave them in. Everything that's over here that doesn't need to be in here still is out. I gotta do something with those lines right there. Yeah, I think tomorrow is going to be first thing, because we're going to get that off the engine stand, get the flex plate changed, get the transmission bolted up to it, get everything with that figured out and on the engine. Oh yeah, I think I gotta take this out yet too. We'll worry about that tomorrow. I'm not dealing with it tonight. I'm kind of tired and frustrated with how little I got done, so I'm not going to do anymore. That, I understand that makes no sense. It's just kind of where I'm at for the night. If I didn't mention it earlier, the wife hasn't felt good today, so I've kind of been inside with her most of the day instead of out here like I wanted to be. So it's kind of got me a day behind, which has me frustrated, but not with her, obviously. It's just kind of a frustration in general. So yeah, it kind of killed my motivation. So I did the simple stuff, got done what I needed to get done. The wiring's out of the way. A few wires have been thinned out of it, but I'm not cutting it a lot out until the engine's in and I know what I'm doing exactly. We're going to change that part of the steering tomorrow because I have a new idler arm for it because I know that one's got slop in it, and that's where a lot of the slop in the steering's coming from. But yeah, changing these out, means I either have to disassemble half of the front of the steering to be able to drill a hole to get to the bolts to change them out, or pulling the lower control arms out so I can get to the bolts to change them out. Neither one do I feel like doing. We've got to put the front coilovers in. Well, I guess I'm going to give that away now. We've got all new suspension for it too, in terms of like springs and shocks. I did not buy new control arms because I didn't have the extra cash, because I didn't realize that control arms for this are basically the same as a G-body apparently. So, and G-bodies are pricey. So a new set of like tubular control arms for this was like, I think, what was it? It was like $500 or $600. I was like, I don't have that kind of extra to spend. I really didn't have a ton of the money to spend on this in general, but I made it happen anyway. So I made the decision to, like, I'm just going to stick with the stock control arms for now. We might change them out later, but as of right now, they're not a necessity. The truck drives really good down the road, other than I know that idler arm has slop in it. Like if I reached down and grabbed it right now, it would wiggle. And that's the only thing in the front suspension I could find slop in. But yeah, so everything else is just going to be what it is. I snapped off the top of the shocks so I can get them changed later. I got to pull them out because, well, obviously we got to put the coilovers in. So, but yeah, I think tomorrow's goal is to get the LS ready to drop in and hopefully drop it in. If I... Oh, another day in the garage. So, as you can see, the garage is a disaster at this point. And we've barely gotten any work done. I turned the truck last night because I didn't want to have to work with the garage doors open because it's like 50 degrees out now. And it's staying warmer in here with them shut than it is with them open. I tried dropping this in last night off camera, and I'm not going to lie, it went terribly. So I learned some things though, like the intake needs to come off for this to happen. It's too tall with the intake on it. I cannot get it past the crank pulley this way. And yeah, it's just, it was turning into a mess in a hurry trying to drop it in. And I just, I ended up pulling it back out, almost tipped the engine stand, or tipped the engine hoist over with it on it. Like it was a mess last night. So set it down, figured I'll try again today. The only things you guys have really missed at this point is I got the transmission bolted up, got the flex plate in, obviously, torque converters bolted up, all that. And I hooked up the kickdown cable. So that's all you guys have missed really to this point. Everything else is just kind of there and not done, but not done. So yeah, so now the goal is I'm gonna take the chain off of it, pull the intake off of it, redo my chain, and then try again. Hopefully this time it goes better. Because like I said, last time it did not go well. If it doesn't go in this way, I'm going to have to probably pull the crank pulley, because I think once it's past the crank pulley, I'm fine, I'm golden. But getting it past the crank pulley was a problem. Most people I have seen online, they pull the whole front clip to do this, and I'm just not willing to strip the truck itself that far down when I don't feel like I need to do something like this. I mean, there's no reason why this shouldn't be able to go in the engine bay the same way that V6 come out. Yes, it's a little bit thicker, but it's not that extreme. There's no reason why I shouldn't be able to make this work. Like I said, I think the only problem I'm having is I might just have to pull the crank pulley, which is, it's kind of whatever. If I got to do that, I got to do that. I just think I got to go get some stuff to do that. Yeah, all right, enough yapping. Let's get something done. All right, now with a little bit of help, we've gotten this far, which is a hell of a lot farther than I got last night because I could not get any of the crank pulley in there. So taking the intake off helped, because right here, yeah, where this has all been up now, this is where I was catching the intake last night. That sucks. I didn't realize I bent that, but we'll be straightening some things back out later. It'll be fine. Now the next fun trick is I gotta get the tail shaft of the transmission pointed up and hopefully into the mount way down there without dropping that, because I really don't want to take that out unless I absolutely have to, because part of that's going to be a pain in the dick. So, which we might just unbolt half of it, and I might just bend it if need be, but we'll cross that bridge in a minute. Alright, bring you guys back in a minute. This is going to take some finagling. Mm-hmm. Well, it's in, kinda, but there's problems, and I guess from this point all I can say is, you know, don't do as me, do some research before you go to try to do this. So basically, no matter what you do, to a degree, the cross member kind of needs notched a little bit, realistically. And the firewall needs beat in no matter what transmission you put in. There's just not enough room to get everything in otherwise. Now mine's beat in a little bit and I didn't notch the cross member at this point. Would have been 1,000 times easier if I would have. And unknown to me, because again, I did no research and I should have. My accessory bracket does not work. Power steering pump is sitting directly on the gearbox right now. So there is no getting that to work. It doesn't matter what I do. And I'm hoping once everything's setting in place properly, I stand some form of a chance of a header fitting this thing, because right now I don't feel like I do. Which concerns me a lot, because I know guys put headers on these things and I know this all works. So now I'm just concerned on what one even fits, because right now there is not a chance in hell any headers fitting, let alone the ones I own. So, but the engine's sitting in crooked. So that's got a lot to do with that too. But I can't get it straight because of this bracket. So I've got to take this bracket off before I do anything else and figure out what one exactly I am ordering, because there are a couple options. The smart option is ICT makes a mount that moves the power steering pump up and in by 1 inch and moves the alternator over and down. That way it all fits within the hood. That's $220 on eBay to get it here by Sunday, so 3 days from now. There is a similar looking bracket setup that goes for anywhere between, it looked like $52 and about $80 to $90 on Amazon as well. That does the same thing supposedly. Pictures, it looks like it's mounting it all the same. I've read things that say it doesn't do it exactly the same, but I don't know. I can have that in 2 days minimum. So I'm up in the air on whether I spend the $220 that realistically I don't have and get the ICT one, or just spend, I think the one I found that I like, that I trust looks right, is about $60, $70. Spend that and get that mount. And then fingers crossed that it works and put it in. I mean, the $60, $70 one, regardless, it'll fit the Nova. So I could always throw it in the Nova or set it aside for the Impala and pretty that engine bay up a little bit. But that won't get this done in the time frame if it's wrong. So, yeah. I'm kind of at a loss on which one to do, which one to go with. and is kind of at a loss in general at the moment with the whole ordeal. So, yeah. This isn't going to be the end of the video because I don't want to end this video with the motor being just half slapped in and call it good. I want to like have a full ending to this, at least for this video, because I mean, this clearly we are not getting this whole truck done in this video. That's clear. But I would like this to end with the motor being mounted up and like looking somewhat like I tried. So okay, so I've got it down in, kind of shuffled in place, and I have figured out how I gotta get these mounted on. I just gotta get some washers and stuff to space things out a little bit because, well, I can't get them quite right because I didn't use those mounts, and I got a feeling if I used those mounts, everything would be spaced properly, but we didn't do that. We used these instead, so we're gonna fuckulate it a little bit. But hopefully after that, it'll be down in there proper. We're going to do that tomorrow because it's 9 o'clock at night and I'm tired. So we'll be on day 3 of trying to get this in here. Yay. Can you hear the enthusiasm in my voice? Yeah, that's the plan for tomorrow now. Hopefully by the end of the day tomorrow, this thing is mounted in this damn truck and done. I think I also got to get a different cross member too, because the one that's down there is just not working for the transmission with this. It's just, the S10 cross member is so freaking weird. Even though I used this combo with this transmission to solve that problem, whereas if I'm going to have an aftermarket one, I could have just used one of those TH400s anyway. So yeah, it is what it is. We're going to make this work, god damn it. Anyway, yeah, tomorrow that's the plan. Then I think we've got to turn the wheel so we can get that undone, pull that shaft out of the way so we can get the header fed down in and put the steering shaft back in. And I have not even attempted to do anything with this header yet. Let's just grab that and see where that's at. Like, I know the motor's setting too low currently. Where is it? I think it's over here. Yeah, what's this even look like right now? Let's just see. Like, how far off is this thing from fitting like at all? Oh, maybe not terrible. Or maybe fucking terrible. Should have just taken this box out and just called it a day. I think if it goes up, where is the... Oh, it's there. Huh, that's where it makes sense being. That's weird. I know it's too far over that way currently, because this just wants to sit over that way, even though it shouldn't. Whatever. Hey, that'll bolt on. Look at that. Weird, almost like it's meant for it. Funny. There's one that shows signs of working. That's honestly probably the best thing I've seen all day. This is a nice truck. This is going to be a nice truck. A very, very nice truck. Say it with me, kids. All right. I'm clearly exhausted for the day. I'm going inside. I'm going to bed. I give up. All right, boys and girls. So, you can see some things have changed. Truck's now back over here. The garage is fairly clean and empty now at this rate, because, well, both Celicas are out at Austin's for storage for the winter. The Beat is probably joining it maybe next week. But And not really anything else to change with the S10 because, well, I got sidetracked. This is my new to me Lincoln Town car. This is probably going to be the winter beater. That's literally all it is. It's just something to drive through the winter. It has a few issues that I was trying to take care of. The speedo still doesn't work, which is kind of annoying because it worked when I picked it up, but I think I caused the problem. So, yeah, long story short on that, I'm getting rid of my RC cars, and that's part of that deal, is I got that. I picked it up from the guy knowing that it had issues with the seat not wanting to work right. The headlights were flickering, and the heat didn't want to turn on. Well, the heat ended up being just a fuse that was loose, pretty much is what I'm going to say. I pulled the fuses out, wiggled them around, put them back in, kicked on. It's been working ever since. You want to say hi? Hi. Yep. The lights ended up being super simple because he just replaced the whole lighting module for the car, and that literally ended up being a bad light bulb. I changed the light bulb, problem went away. Then I went to turn on the windshield wipers, and they got about halfway through their sweep and blew a fuse. Okay. I stuck another fuse in just to see maybe that was a fluke because the window was dry. So I thought, okay, maybe they haven't ran in a while, everything's a little stiff. It overloaded the system. I threw another fuse in it, wetted down the window, and it did it again. Okay. Still trying to kind of troubleshoot it. I grabbed another fuse, threw it in. This time, instead of it being a 30 amp fuse like it calls for, it was a 40 amp. Threw it in, everything started working. All right, so the system just needed to be able to run and needed a little bit bigger fuse to pull it off for a second. Now it's fine, I think. And then it started smoking out the dash. Son of a bitch. So I was hoping that that little bit difference in fuse wouldn't be enough to do that. It was. So I've had basically 2/3 of the dashboard apart, chasing some wiring. Thought I was hopeful that I had found the problem. I found one wire, that had any kind of real damage to it. I went through, made sure that wire wasn't touching anything, at least as far as I could find in the dash, that wire wasn't touching anything. And fixed it. That wire, oddly enough, goes to the light module. Not anything to do with the speedometer. But, Ford, weird. And notably, I had a speedometer prior to the windshield wiper motor shorting some stuff out. I changed the windshield wiper motor, fixed that problem, because that's what was wrong with it the entire time, as far as the wipers went. Yeah. So got it to where now that wire now being pulled out, taped up and everything to where there's no issues with it. As far as I can find in the loom, if I went farther into the loom, I might find more problems with it. But the problem with that is the fuse it was blowing no longer blows. So wherever the short was that was causing the problem is gone. I found it, I fixed it, it's dealt with. It's not blowing any other fuses. I've looked at every fuse in the car. So at this point, I've either done something to hurt the gauge cluster, and just specifically the speedometer part of the gauge cluster, or something's hurt with the VVS wiring, or the VSS wiring, the vehicle speed sensor wiring. Huh?
I need to go potty.
Okay, well, I'll let you inside. So, go see if you can open the door. I don't think I shut it all the way. Go. You get it? There you go. So, yeah, anyway. So something's got to be wrong with that wiring because, again, I changed the speed sensor today. No change. Speedometer still doesn't work. Which sucks because this car only has 45,000 miles on it. And now it won't show any mileage. And I know the speedometer is working when I got it because I drove it home. from the guy's house. No real issues driving. Runs and drives great. Steering's a little stiff, but it's whatever. It drives straight down the road. It just doesn't like returning the center necessarily perfectly on its own. As you can tell by the front bumper, it's been in a front impact at some point in its life. But everything's put back together, and outside of the fact that it kind of droops in the center, you wouldn't really know it looking at it. The rest of the car is clean. Got a very nice interior. No. So yeah, I mean, everything looks good in here. Trunk looks good too. It runs great, drives great. It's just now that won't work, now that the speedo don't work, the odometer's also not tracking anything either. So I now have a car with 45,000 miles on it that I can't show or necessarily prove has 45,000 miles on it, because who knows if that's the real problem with it. And now if I go and try to sell the thing for any kind of real money, people are just going to argue with me that, well, the speedo don't work, so maybe this thing's got 145,000 on it. How do I argue it? So it's kind of, now I'm just irritated by it. I'm irritated by that problem because I can't find the solution. And I don't have an extra gauge cluster laying around to just test that theory. So, yeah. This is probably the only time you're going to see this on the channel, short of me using it to go get parts or something. I've got $1,000 in an 02 town car with 45,000 miles on it. It's got some issues, but at this point, I don't even care. It runs and drives great. It'll just be what it is, and I'll figure out the speedo as I can. If I can. If not, it can go to someone else and they can figure it out. So, but it is what it is. Yeah, back to what we're here about, though. So, straightened the S10 back out, and this thing has become kind of just like the bane of my existence at the moment, and I have kind of just gotten defeated by it so much I had to walk away from it for a little while. You guys can see there is no accessory drive on it again. There's no intake on it. With the way it's leaning and tilted to the one side, you can very clearly tell the transmission's not mounted to anything yet. And that's because, well, the light is killing me from those doors. I ordered another transmission crossmember for it because I was hoping I could get the stock one to work. And with a lot of cutting and welding at this point, I probably could, and it might have been the easier way to go about this, to just modify that one under the truck until it worked the way I needed it to. But that's not what I decided to do. I ordered another one from Transdapt, and I didn't pay close enough attention to what I was ordering. You know, because, you know, S10, S15, Jeep, or not Jeep, but Jimmy, Blazer, they're all the same thing, right? Yeah, they are. But the chassis aren't completely the same. Notably, the transmission crossmember and the way they mount are not the same. Learn that, because I ordered a Transdapt crossmember sitting right there for an 84 Jimmy or Blazer. Not thinking about the fact that, you know, hey, that doesn't specify S10, just specifies Jimmy or Blazer. Chassis in that particular section is different on them. That crossmember will not bolt onto the truck, and there's no way to make the one side bolt on. So it doesn't work. I've got to return it. I have the correct one coming now for a TH350 in an S15. That's an 82 model. That should, fingers crossed, hopefully solve that problem. If not, fire. I don't know at this point. But yeah, so I've been kind of just beating around the bush about even touching it because of that. And realistically, the moral of this story to this point is don't dive into a project like this without reading first. I stupidly did not read anything about V8 swapping an S10 prior to starting this project. And I thought mentally I had all my ducks in a row and I knew what I was doing because it's a V8 into an S10. Everyone V8 swaps and LS swaps these things. Should not be that hard to do. And if you read literally anything, it's not hard to do. Because if you read anything, you would know you've got to massage the firewall a little bit around the trans tunnel. You need to kind of notch the cross member to make the oil pan fit a little bit better. You would know that no matter what headers you use, you have to order a new steering shaft because the one that's in it doesn't necessarily like engine swaps, and every header wants to touch it because it's like this big around. So you got to kind of order one that's got the smaller U-joints to make it all work. And the accessory drive from a truck LS won't fit because the power steering pump and the steering gearbox are trying to share the same space. So you would know to do those things or order those parts that, you know, work for that problem. Not this guy. He didn't have any of that. He didn't know any of that. And he fought for 3 days getting the engine in without the crossmember being notched. When if he would have just been smart, he would have read some stuff online, realized he needed to make just a couple small notches in the crossmember to give the oil pan clearance to drop down, and would have maybe needed to massage a brake line a little bit to make that all work. And he would have had the steering shaft before now, and he would have had the brackets to mount everything the right way, and he would have ordered the right trans cross member and known that the factory one wouldn't work if he would have bothered to read anything. So learn from my mistakes. Don't be stupid and think you're just going to just throw it together in a weekend and be done without reading anything or knowing what you're doing beforehand. Research is your friend. Do it. Yeah, because if not, you end up like me, where, you know, you took your perfectly good running and driving S10 and made it not that in a matter of days, thinking you were going to make it that again in a matter of days, and now it's going on 2 weeks and it still doesn't do anything. So yeah, I think for my sanity, this is where we're going to call this video with the S10. We will be back on it the very next video after this, because I'm not going to stop on it until I'm done. But I need to have some parts show up. I need to stop and think of some things. Oh yeah, and the you would think a radiator meant for an S10 would mount directly into an S10. It don't. None of the bracketry or anything works for it, even though it's made specifically for this truck. So yeah, there's that too. Like I said, it's an ongoing just process at this point. But yeah, but what we're going to do is we're going to take a step back for a day or two, which I kind of already have at this point because I was busy with stupid things. And so yeah, with all that being said, thank you guys for watching this week. I'm sorry it was such a disaster with this thing. And I guess I'm sorry I didn't film anything while I worked on that, but I didn't figure anyone would care to see it. Join me next week. Hopefully next video we'll get this thing running. Just means you guys are going to see more videos on the S10. And so far you guys do seem to like the S10. The 2 videos I've posted about it have been 2 of my better videos lately. At least the first one was pretty good. The second one I think still a little low on views, but it seems like it's getting a view or 2 every day, which for me is pretty good. So yeah. Alright, I will catch you guys next time. Hopefully things go better. See you guys then. Bye.